What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I'm going to be breaking down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to talk about why tomorrow is going to be a very important day and give you guys a very important warning about CPI. But before I break anything down, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 6 free stocks. If you deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks plus 6 months of level 2 data. And put in $25,000 or more, you're guaranteed 70 free stocks plus 12 months of level 2 data. The offer ends in just 7 days, so check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's break down what's going on with the market. Looking at SPY, this thing is continuing to uptrend and hold up very, very nicely. In my video, I warned you all that we might see this thing stay within its range. And if we did want to break out, there was still potential for us to get up to 467 over the next 2 weeks, in my opinion, if not even sooner. So we didn't just kind of like remain range bound. Instead, we just continued to uptrend for the most of today, especially on the QQQ. The market is still holding support very nicely. We talked about this in the morning. But now the question is, how will the market move going forward? I just want to break down something very important. As a reminder, for Tuesday, which is tomorrow, we have CPI data coming out an hour before the market opens. Okay. We have core coming out in CPI. And once again, if you don't want to hold overnight, this is going to be your last chance to exit your positions, not financial advice. There are only about 2 hours left of the market trading day, and you're not going to have any other chance because before the market opens again tomorrow, the data is going to be out. So watch this all very carefully. Now, holding overnight for CPI is risky. You want to be very, very careful, guys. We never know what's going to happen. All right. But based off my data, based off the things I talked about on Saturday, and based off the different pieces of data involving the oil futures, looking at the comparison between that and CPI and other factors from historical data, I think there's a very good chance that CPI is going to be aligned with expectations, if not below expectations, and this is going to help the market pump up more. But remember, I don't know for sure. I can't promise that because, uh, you know, things are very manipulated and you don't always know what's going to happen with 100% certainty. So although there's a risk to play CPI overnight, if I were to play this, I would just keep my positions kind of small, not risk way too much money. But just to be honest with you guys, just to be transparent, I do favor the upside for tomorrow. I think the chart looks bullish. And on top of that, the data does suggest we're going to get a decent CPI. I'll be talking about the data later on. But if you want to see the data right now, just look at my video from Saturday where I talked about the Tuesday squeeze. You're going to see the same data in that video. I'll be talking more about it later on in the afternoon, anyways. But now let's talk about SPY. We're approaching this 462 resistance right over here, looking bullish overall, pushing very nicely. And honestly, I think that we're going to be seeing 467 very soon. That's my price target. I think we could see that, and it could happen as soon as tomorrow, depending on CPI. I don't know what CPI is going to be, but it is a possibility. And overall, the chart looks bullish. But if you want to hold SPY overnight, if you have like calls or puts or whatever, that's your choice. Just know it's risky. We never know what's going to happen. I do favor the upside. I think there's a good chance we're going to get the upside, but just to be safe, you want to just manage risks and just try to be careful. Not financial advice. For the QQQ, it's very bullish. It has broken this resistance. I had this drawn out. I was talking about how it would retrace to the bottom of this trend line and start breaking out. And that's despite the fact that Apple and Tesla are looking kind of weak alongside Nvidia. We got this breakout as we were anticipating. We're going to be looking at this next resistance. We just broke above 395. We're looking very strong. Could this thing just keep breaking out towards 400? It's a real possibility. The QQQ is still not showing much weakness thus far. Now, even though I am saying it's looking bullish, that does not mean I'm telling you to load up on calls or just gamble overnight. I'm literally telling you that it is risky to hold overnight. Be very careful with it. I do believe that there's a good chance of upside, but like I said before, I would not risk way too much. I wouldn't bet my entire portfolio on it. I would just manage risks and be very careful. Not financial advice once again. But nonetheless, the QQQ looks bullish, holding up very nicely. Apple had some bad news that came out, and we saw this rejection on Apple instead. We had this gap to fill, but we ended up breaking below the wedge right here, but now Apple's trying to rebound. But the thing that's worth noting is that technically, let me show you the chart on Apple right here. Apple technically has this gap to fill. I don't think it fully filled this gap. And that's important because when we go on the chart right here, especially on, I'm going to go to maybe like the 5 minute time frame. It is looking kind of weak, but this doesn't matter as much because CPI could still push it right back up. So I'm not really too worried about this. Not sure what just happened here. I may have to fix this again. But anyways, CPI can help this rebound and push right back up towards this 195 area. We also have this gap to fill, so it's not necessarily that Apple's just going to crash from here and start tanking. CPI could still help Apple make its way right back up. So it's not the end of the world, and just know that CPI is going to be a big factor for this. If you're trading Apple, be very careful because we never know what CPI is going to cause alongside the news, and there is potential for it. Right now, we're testing this resistance at 193. If we break above this, we have this imbalance. We could push right back up towards the breakout area at 193.75. If we break that, it's going to be on its way to try to fill this gap and get close to 195. It looks like it based right here is trying to rebound a bit, so we'll see if it continues higher, and then we'll see what CPI causes. As far as Nvidia goes, there was some bad news that came out, and this led to Nvidia selling off a bit alongside other tech stocks. It came all the way back down towards our 457 support. It actually bounced off 458. It's making a nice recovery though, showing some life, and we're back at 469. If it keeps pushing, watch it try to get back above 472. Then we have this imbalance to fill as well. I was talking about this blue trend line right over here acting as support. We also had this resistance here. I told you if we lost the blue trend line, Nvidia is going to turn bearish. If we held this, we could turn bullish. We ended up breaking below it. But technically, what is good about Nvidia, what you could argue is that Nvidia is still technically making higher highs and higher lows because when you look at the chart like this, we're still holding this support right here. You can even draw it out like this, still holding up quite decently. And we managed to hold support and we're still uptrending technically. So we're going to be looking for a rebound on Nvidia. Still think it could get close to the 480s, but we need to see what CPI causes and if Nvidia can make a follow through move. Now for Tesla, things are a little different. Tesla was in a consolidation phase. It's still technically, you could still argue that it's still in its range instead, but it did end up breaking below our yellow trend line, which is not the best of signs for it. Now, it's trying to make its way back up. It's not the end of the world. It could still try to get back up in this wedge. But the thing about Tesla, and the reason why it broke down is because we had got a lot of bad news that came out. There are analysts saying that Tesla could drop 38% in the future. We also had some bad news involving potential new incentives that could end up hurting their margins to bring up their deliveries. There's also some news involving Elon Musk. So we had some negative news again, guys. This news caused Tesla to end up breaking below the yellow trend line. Otherwise, I think it could have consolidated for some time and made an attempt to break out. Now, with CPI coming out for tomorrow, if it launches the markets, Tesla could try to make its way back into this wedge, back into the 240s. We're at 240 right now. We're not like that low. We're not doing that horrible. It's still okay. It's not dead quite yet. So it held this support right here, is trying to rebound. Let's see if CPI can try to launch this thing back up. I still think there's a good chance it's going to attempt to do so and make its way right back up. So Tesla's not dead. I don't think this is the end for Tesla. I think Tesla could try to attempt to make its way back up. It's going to depend on CPI and what reaction we get from Tesla. And also the news. The news was a little bearish today, which led Tesla to sell off the way it did, but it could still try to make a comeback. I want to see Tesla try to get back above 242. If it achieves that, that's going to be a very good sign. All right, guys, that's it for this one. Thank you all so much for listening. Once again, guys, the market is going to close in a couple of hours, and that's going to be your last chance between now and then. That's your last chance to exit any positions before CPI, unless you have a special brokerage account that allows you to like sell during after hours. But most people can't do that. So with that being said, okay, CPI is tomorrow morning. Be prepared. Remember that if you're holding anything overnight, it is risky technically. I do favor the upside. That's my personal opinion, and that's not financial advice. Do what you have to do, guys, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. And once again, thank you and peace out.